Simple questions for 100 people. Welcome to our experiment, the 100 Person Project. I am Bill Carell, and this is my investigation. This is a research project to gather data from 100 beautiful human beings for the sole purpose to see what actually happens across the interviews. The questions are fixed, and all the interviews will remain consistent, with a variable being the actual participants themselves and their answers. So it's as if I'm having you come sit on my porch, Shawn, to share your thoughts so I can learn about people. We're looking forward to what we're going to learn when we're done, and we're very interested in the people, the process, and your particular story. So it's my distinct pleasure to introduce, how about I let you do that for me? What is your name, your full name?
My full name is Shawn Dineen.
No middle name?
I do have a middle name. My middle name is Ashley.
There you go. And not a lot of people know that, right?
No.
Well, they do now, at least you and me. That's fantastic. And how do you feel about that name?
I always hated it. So obviously Shawn is not typically a girl's name. I've gotten over that, having it for 33 years now. Now I tell people that boys' names build character for girls. But I was always like double upset about it because of my middle name. So Shawn Ashley Dineen, my initials spell the word sad.
Oh,
So
gee.
you had to give me a boy's name and you had to give me initials that I can't put on anything because it's sad. But whatever.
A little bit like a boy named Sue, where you'd have to get tough or die.
Yeah, right.
I like it. That's so Irish. So, Shawn, Ashley, what is your favorite nickname that most people don't know?
So most people who are really close to me, my mom, my best friends, they all call me Shawnee. And then my best friend, her son, he calls me Shawnee Bonnie.
That's cute. Yeah. My godson's name is Sean, Sean, and his sister, Emily, always called him Shawnee. So that's good. I like it. So, and the other part of it is it's kind of neat to see the shoe on the other foot, because I've known a guy named Carol. He didn't like it all that much. And Kim has been one of those kind of ambiguous, could be anybody. My watch likes to talk to me from time to time. I could probably turn it off, but well, you know what? We'll just roll with it. Back to you. So about Shawnee and Shawnee Bonnie. Who and tell me about how it makes you feel.
Um, so if someone like a stranger just calls me Shawnee, I feel a little weird about it. There are specific people that's all they call me. So if they don't call me that, it also feels weird. So it really just depends whose mouth it's coming out of.
Can I share a little Irish lore that I never realized until my friend Johnny McCullough explained this to me? Both of us are going on 70 years old. I think I'll be 70 a little bit before him. He has always called me Billy, and he's known me since the third grade. And after a lifetime of being called that by my family and some very special close people, I asked John, I said, John, we're a little bit long in the tooth to be calling each other, ending up with an E. He says, well, Billy, he says, you got to understand that that's an Irish demonstration of respect. That almost anybody who was anybody back in the day. That's why, Scotsmen are the same way. Johnny Black, Johnny Walker Black, there's a good reason that the Johnny is there, like handsome Billy Boy, Billy Boyd. So Shawnee in our country would be, probably most people wouldn't know that. And you'd have to explain it to them. And then if you got to tell them the joke, then it's not really funny anymore, is it?
Yeah.
Anyway, so we'll move on from there. And when did you first notice what color hair you had?
So I have no idea. I have no recollection of being like, oh, I have brown hair. What I do know is when I decided to change my brown hair and when I wanted my hair to be blonde instead of brown. And I think I was I think I was around like eighth grade. My mom let me get highlights. Maybe it was earlier than that. I'm not sure. Um, but yeah, so oddly enough, I don't remember just realizing what it was, but I do remember changing it.
That's interesting. Now, were you one of those ladies that did something else to your hair, like perming it or ironing it or something else, curling it with a curling iron in high school, sort of thing?
Never perm, but I've straightened my hair, I've curled my hair. It always just wants to be somewhere in between. So I don't do much to it anymore. But yeah.
Well, I don't think you need to, in my humble opinion. Okay. So we'll move on from your hair, as interesting and exciting a topic as that is. What is your favorite thing to do to intentionally waste time?
Well, I mean, I think like a lot of people now, I just find myself scrolling on my phone. Um,
Hmm.
TikTok will kind of eat your brain. So I find that if there's a downtime, I am like scrolling on TikTok. I'm trying not to do that anymore though. So if I'm trying to kill time now, I try to put the phone down and pick up a book instead. But my brain always wants to go to the phone immediately.
It's interesting. Is there a particular feed or channel or something? I know nothing about TikTok, but I'm imagining that it's probably like Facebook, where there's different categories of stuff that you can, then kind of subscribe to, et cetera. Does it work that way?
Yeah, kind of. So it kind of learns what you like and then starts showing you more of that. It's not always spot on though. So sometimes you get into these like weird little niche things that you kind of get to be like, I don't know how I ended up on this side of TikTok, but yeah, you could search particular things and come up with a whole bunch of videos for anything.
Yeah,
I do a
I think.
lot of learning
Go
on
ahead.
there.
Say again.
I do a lot of my learning on there.
I don't do it on TikTok, but I do it on other social media.
Yeah,
And I
there's this.
understand there's a lot of people making big time money on TikTok. Is that so?
Oh yeah, yeah, millions of dollars.
And
I
here
haven't.
you Yeah. So we've got an interesting connection here, and it looks like only one of us can talk at a time. So I'm going to be a lot more quiet till I'm pretty sure you're done speaking, okay? Because you're my guest. I want to treat you with utmost respect, Shawnee. And as a result of that, this is your story. So, TikTok, is there anything else that you do? You did say go to a book. What kind of books do you read?
I like a good like corny love story. I'm not big into like thrillers or historical. I like things that are fake, so things that are like an escape for your mind. I don't necessarily want to have to like do a lot of thinking about plots and things like that. I just want it to be corny Hallmark movie cheese.
We're really talking a snack here, right? I got it. So, what is your favorite movie to watch by yourself?
Um, see. I don't watch a ton of movies. I'm like chronically one of those people that will fall asleep the second you put a movie on. I really like the movie Big Fish, though. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's
It
a great.
seems like a title I've heard. Who's in it?
Oh, I have no idea.
Okay, you're usually asleep by the time they run the end credits, right?
Yeah,
I get it. Okay, but Big Fish, I'll have to look that up afterwards and just see what the attraction is.
yeah, it's a good one. It gets a little like weird and mythical almost, but it's a good one.
Nice. So, if you were to have an action figure of like Super Sean made of you, what superpower would it have, and what colors would its uniform be?
What superpower would it have? I always wanted to have teleporting superpowers because I hate driving and I just want to get places. So if my superpower could be just to go somewhere, teleportation, not have to waste time or do any driving or travel, I would like to have that. And it would probably be, I don't know what it would wear. Leggings and probably some like bright colored thing.
Any two colors come to mind? Could be more than two colors, but what would be the first two you think of?
I mean, I have pink on today, so that's probably a good go to. I do a lot of like olive green or like burnt orange.
Lovely. I can imagine, especially with the leggings. That sounds comfortable more than anything.
Yeah, I think COVID taught us that we don't have to wear like real pants anymore. We can just wear leggings.
However, it is advisable to wear some pants, right?
Yes, yes.
That didn't work out for certain people very well. I can't even imagine. You know, and the really neat part of all of that is that having a superpower to be able to transport that so resonates with me. You know, I'm in the IT industry, right? I started a computer company back in the early 1990s. I thought that email was the coolest thing ever. So starting in 1994, 1995, I was constantly trying to figure out how to send myself as an attachment in an email. I've yet to crack that code. So if anybody out there who's listening has a way to do that, I'd love to hear about it. And it sounds like Shawn might be interested too.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't mind the travel, but I'd rather get where I'm going and get busy, you know? So, what did you want? All right, this one's interesting. Not like the other ones that weren't interesting, but this one is interesting from the perspective of placing yourself in the past. So, what did you want to grow up to be when you were 5 years old?
Um, I don't know if it was specifically 5 years old, but I know when I was younger, I wanted to be a fashion designer. And I don't know what happened to that, but at some point I phased out of it.
So that might have come from a movie, maybe The Devil Wears Prada or something like that. Maybe
Maybe.
not.
And not as so I remember wanting to be that when I was young, but then I remember also like probably more high school age, there was a show called The Hills and they were like working for fashion companies and going to fashion school and I just like thought that was the coolest thing.
Yeah. Did you ever watch Project Runway at all?
Yep.
Make it work.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved that. But so I can't sew to save my life. I've taken sewing classes and it's just not for me. I'm more of a digital design kind of person. So I don't think fashion design was really in the cards for me.
You really are a digital design person, and that's kind of what you do as your secondary passion, as I would say. You know, and you want to spend a minute or two talking about that. How so? Do you think that the passion for being a fashion designer wound up getting redirected into design, you know, for digital stuff, or was it something else along the way that caught your eye, or some program that you stumbled into that you said, "Whoa, this thing can actually do what I've got in my mind."
Yeah, so I've never been like a drawer or a painter. I couldn't make like my own art authentically basically. So when Canva came out, I thought that was the most incredible product and I still use Canva for everything.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it is people have made little characters or like formats of things and then you can change them and make them your own. And so I have an eye for like color and layout and things like that, but I couldn't draw you my own character. So that allows me to use someone else's talent, merge it together with mine, and then get what I want out of it. So I design my own journals. So a lot of that is done through Canva. Not again things that I drew myself, but somebody else put their one little piece out there. I took that, I combined it with something else, and then I made my version of art out of it, which is the journal covers. So it all
So,
kind of together with Canva.
so there was this man back in the 1960s and 70s. His last name was Deming. And he went to all of the manufacturing companies, the big manufacturing companies, automobiles, textiles, you name it. And he was trying to bring statistical quality control to them. And he went to the Japanese and they just lapped it right up. They said, "Holy mackerel, you mean there's a way we don't have to have so much scrap and trash and everything?" And he said, "Yeah." He says, "First thing you do is you shamelessly steal all the best ideas." And I've carried that forward. You know, anything that's not patented, not the end product, but you know, if you want to take the process and shamelessly steal that, do yourself a favor. Don't reinvent the wheel every single time. So I love you saying that. Is that part of what you go on TikTok for? Is to kind of like get an idea of late breaking visual images and that sort of thing?
Not so much. I do use it sometimes. Like there's different creators that will show you how to use tools on Canva that maybe you didn't know existed. Actually, I a couple of months ago discovered this new tool through TikTok that you can take an image that you like and you can have Canva apply the color scheme to whatever you're making. So if you're doing something branded, you can take your logo and have the flyer apply the color scheme from your logo. It's just so cool. It would probably take me hours playing around with it, but instead I can just click one button and have it all match perfectly.
Terribly convenient, huh?
Yeah.
That's wonderful. So, all right, on to the next question. Now, this is where I get to know you a little bit, okay? What would you say, Shawn, is your greatest accomplishment?
My greatest accomplishment. I don't think it's like, I guess we usually think that we want to have like an award or an achievement or whatever. But I think my greatest accomplishment is just the perseverance that I've been able to have. So my fiance passed away in 2022. And instead of letting that destroy me, I've used it to fuel me and to be able to build off of it. So although it was something tragic and unexpected and nothing that I could have planned for, it's given me this whole different life now. And my perseverance was able to take me on the journey that I'm on now and meet the incredible people that I've been able to meet, go on the vacations and trips that I've gone on. So I credit that to my perseverance. And I think having that is a great accomplishment for myself.
I really agree with you. And for me and the folks at home, we are sorry for your loss, but also inspired by how you're dealing with it. You are a very strong woman and you're very self-effacing and you do good stuff for everybody you know all the time. It's very much appreciated.
Thank you.
I agree. That's your greatest accomplishment, and also being that beacon of light that basically says, as long as you're still breathing, you still got work to do.
Yep. Yep. I'm sure you
Personally,
say it before, but people will say like, "Oh, well, how do you carry on and how do you still stay so positive and things like that?" And all I ever say is, I still have my life, so I have to keep living it, living my life because I have it. And as long as I have it, I'm going to live it in a way that hopefully brings me the most joy as possible.
I love that. And quite frankly, my whole life, all the songs that I've known were not about being joyful in loss. They were about how can I live without you and all the rest of that sort of thing. So that subliminally has really kind of created this thing that we can't point to and understand why we feel the way that we do. And I like that you're balanced. That's the best word I can come up with, you know? And enough said. On to the next thing. So, who is your favorite person to listen to, Shawn,
In any way,
in any way?
I don't know. I mean, I would have to say my mom just because my mom's my favorite person in general. She's the person that I laugh the hardest with. She's the person that I talk to if I need an ear. So I don't always want to take her advice, but she's probably ultimately my favorite person to listen to.
And you enjoy listening to her no matter what you choose to do, right?
And in my adulthood, I've realized that she is almost 99% of the time right. So usually, if she's telling me something, I should probably listen.
And you usually find that out right after you don't, right?
Yeah, teenage me would hate that.
Oh my god, yeah, this is not right. Something's wrong with this picture. And I appreciate, obviously, she did a pretty good job with you, and she still considers you a work in progress. That's pretty cool. So, please complete this sentence. When I grow up, I'd like to
When I grow up, I'd like to be happy and fulfilled, whatever that looks like.
say some more, please.
So I think that a lot of times we strive for like career success or success monetarily, and those things are awesome. But at the end of the day, I want my life to be one filled with joy and as much experience as possible. So It's complicated and simple all at once.
Well, here's the thing, I like it because, happiness is always a matter of perspective, and it's kinda on a sliding scale. It's very context sensitive, as they say, and quite frankly, I think most people that run into you are gonna think you're already pretty happy and joyful, you know? So, for you, it would probably be off the hook for most other people, and I can just imagine, you walking around the every single day. "This is the best day I've ever had. I can't wait for tomorrow because there's more fun stuff coming."
Yeah, and I specifically use the word joy instead of happiness a lot because I don't think that it's the same. Like to me, joy could be being content, being relaxed, being at ease. It doesn't necessarily have to be some explosion of smiles and laughter, but it's just good all around.
Yeah. Happiness is kinda like comfort, where joy is more or less getting lost in the moment, do you think?
Yeah,
Like, suddenly you look around and 3 hours have gone by. What happened there, you know?
right.
And, let's do it again tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a little more deep to me than just saying happiness.
I agree. And now that you've explained it a little bit more, we have that distinction, the difference between happiness and joy. Thank you. Now, so what is the most important thing in life to you right now?
Um, the most important thing in life to me right now is complicated in order to pick just one thing. Um, I think experiencing things is important to me, trying new things. Anything that's going to allow me to not be stuck in this like grief hole
Yeah,
is important to me. So anything that I can do to get out and feel like I'm alive and living and having purpose, that's what's most important to me right now.
that's very cool. So now that you've said that, is there something else that's close to being that important to you?
Um, my relationships with people. Since losing John, I think I have a different perspective on what a good relationship with anyone is. So maintaining good friendships that are quality friendships that give back to me and don't just suck things out of me are important to me. And whether that's with friends or family or whoever, having those quality connections is really important to me.
I appreciate that. That's really great sharing, and I imagine there are a lot of people that are listening, me included, that's very informative too. The whole notion of relationships sometimes disappears while you're just in the middle of having another day it's like I had a friend, he used to say, I wake up in the morning and I look over at my wife and I go, "Oh, you again?" you know, and it's like, I said, "John, it's over, right, dude?" And I said, "Go ask her if she's feeling the same way." He did. And they had the most amicable, divorce. They are the happiest married to two other people. It just happened in such a way that both of them were not ready to break the other one's heart. And then when they told each other, nobody's heart was broken.
It was like, oh, thank God. You too.
You go first. No, you go first. No, you go first.
Yeah,
And the remarkable thing, they're still very good friends. As a matter of fact, the four of them travel together to this day. And it's remarkable to me because I don't know a lot of people that have that going on in their lives. And I appreciate you highlighting the whole notion of the relationship, especially with a partner for you. I would imagine you're looking for something completely different than you were the last time.
absolutely. And honestly, I've tried to go back on dating apps and it's kind of torture for me because people just don't understand the kind of relationship that I'm looking for because I have this comparison of I had the person that was perfect in my eyes that I wanted to be with forever. I'm not just interested in checking off a box that, all right, married, check, having a baby, check. Like, I want a connection, a person to do life with, not just to check off all those timeline boxes.
That's a wonderful thing to say. What if being married is a person to do life with? I like that. You can count on me to steal it shamelessly, okay?
Go right ahead.
All right. So, these are great answers. I love where you're coming from. What would you like to leave in the world after your time here is done?
What would I like to leave? Um, so I think I just want people like to think of me fondly because when I think about all of the people connected to John and how they feel having lost him, it's just such a like significant thing to say about his character that all of these people so deeply miss him and were sad by him not being here. I mean, he had more male friends than any guy I've ever met ever. Like he maintained this close knit circle of guy friends from early age, like elementary school. And some of them will still message me and just tell me like how much they miss him or post that they went to this cemetery and how much they missed him. And he was just such a light and an energy and a presence. And I want people to remember me as fondly as they think of him.
It's amazing. I'm sure it'll be quite different, and at the same time, that's a it's a powerful way to share loss, to just be back in contact again and say, "This is how I'm feeling today," and thank John for what he left all of us with. Very cool. I'm gonna smile now, okay? Um, so, all right, do you have a baker? Is there somebody that you go to get donuts or bread or any of that kinda thing?
I do some baking myself. So usually if I want something, I will just make it. But
There you go.
there is a bakery that I'll go to. It's in South Windsor. It's called Taste by Spellbound. They make some incredible stuff there.
It sounds good. My first experience with a bakery was when I was, I don't know, probably about 5 or 6 years old. My grandfather took me all around, and we bought a bunch of ingredients, and we went to the bake shop. And he ordered a dozen donuts, and the guy counted out 13 into the bag, and I was, like, amazed. He gave you 13 donuts. He said, "Any good bakery always does. You're buying the dozen, you might as well get another one." And so, to this day, I think the baker's dozen is a concept that everyone ought to use, when you're doing things for people, and don't do 12, do 13, right? Always give more than is expected. So, here's your baker's question. What is the thing, Sean, that most people misunderstand about you?
I think especially lately and post John's passing, maybe even a little bit before, I post a lot of stuff. So I post my feelings, I post about stuff that's going on, I post about however I'm feeling that I'm missing John, or I just share a lot
Yeah,
social media wise. And I think people really think that that's like kind of a attention grab kind of thing. And that's not at all what it is. Like, partially, it's therapeutic for me because I get to just like talk to a blank space about how I'm feeling. And that's a good outlet for me. But at the same time, I also get to reach people who may also be feeling the same way and help them if they're struggling. I've had people come and ask me for resources, and I have them to provide to them. So by sharing those things, I wouldn't have naturally known that that person was struggling, but they saw that they could connect with me and then sent me a message. So it depends on perspective, I guess.
that's brilliant. And you know what? You're more than willing to be misunderstood, aren't you?
Yeah. And if you don't like what I'm sharing or if you think it's ill intent or whatever the case may be, it's a you problem. It's not.
This one was never for you, okay? Yeah. When you're speaking and I watch you kind of like mulling something around in your head before you say what's gonna come out, I am to the point where you've got me conditioned to expect nothing but empowerment. It's a wonderful trait that you have and a wonderful skill. And I appreciate being around you. I appreciate sharing your space and conversation. I will appreciate working with you in the future if we pull that off. But in the meantime, I've got a question for you. Do you have any questions for me?
I don't know. I wasn't prepared for it to be the one asking the questions.
Yeah, I like to give a zinger last before everybody leaves, but everyone gets asked that.
I don't think I do at the moment.
Very good. So anything else that you'd like to say either about the experience, what you have had to say, what you've shared, anything you want to do to kind of wrap up?
Yeah, I think it's just important to know that like this is your life. So you get to choose how you live it and you get to choose what the outcome of it is. Like you get to choose the path you're on. And I've discovered through this entire grief and loss journey and process of finding people that like I was always my own biggest barrier. I was always judging myself more than anyone else was. And I was thinking about, is that person smiling, laughing at me, or mocking me? And at this point, like I said before, that's a you problem now. If you have any judgments about me, that's a you problem. And because I experienced such a significant loss, I kind of get to go on and like live my life that the worst thing possible happened to me and I'm still here and I'm alive. So what's the worst that could happen? If that person smiling or laughing is laughing at me, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that bad. So we just keep moving on.
Excellent. And I think we will leave the interview right there. But my parting words to all of you that are listening, and to you too, Shawn, is there are people in your life and in all of your lives at home that would love to hear from you, and you don't know it, and they don't know it. But if you were to just call them, send them an email, send them a text, and basically say, hey, I really appreciate that you are here and that you're in my life. My life works because I know you're out there. Please call me if you ever need anything. Love you. Bye. So give that a shot and do it at least 4 or 5 people over the next week and see what happens to you personally. I highly recommend it. So, again, here we are. Simple questions for 100 beautiful persons. And Shawn Ashley Dineen, thank you so much for your absolute great answers and for spending time with us all.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Bye for now.
Bye.
You've been listening to Simple Questions for 100 People, part of the Exvadio Podcast Network. You can find every episode at exvadio.com/podcasts, the Apple Podcast app, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and wherever you find podcasts.